Teachers, what is the most ridiculous petty thing a parent had contacted you over? The child had heard someone using swear words. Child is 16. Thought it was odd, but still, if a student or worse teacher had sworn at him, it's not great. Was it a teacher or someone else at the school? Common no. It was a fellow student then? Common no. So it was someone else in school. Did it happen in the school campus? Common no. During school hours? Common no. So you're saying your child heard someone swearing outside of school grounds and outside of school hours and that person had no connection to the school? Yes. I want to know what you're going to do about it. What kind of logic? Oh wait, there is none. Organizing a grad dinner. Mother comes in and demands her daughter perform her music. I inform her the grad class has picked someone else other than her daughter. She gets even madder. She corrects me that she is not talking about her daughter that is graduating. She is talking about her daughter that graduated years ago trying to launch her music career. I laugh and professionally inform her it will never happen. Couple days later she called the conference center and tried to make all the meals kosher and a bunch of other stuff. Wild lady. There was a mom who was mad that we wouldn't let her son be in the class that he wanted to be in. Her son was in grade 2, but for the first 2 or so months of the school year he would go to the kindergarten classroom every day. We're not a big school, so there's only one grade 2 class. Developmentally there was no reason he should still be in the kindergarten class. He just kept going there because he liked the toys better, and when he was in there he would make fun of the younger students because he was older and smarter than the rest of them and would hit them if they were stupid. When we told the mom what was going on and that we needed her to support this transition, she thought we were doing this just because we didn't want her son to be happy at school. We finally got him to go to the correct class, my class, but the troubled behavior, hitting, swearing, making messes, being purposefully distracting, disrespectful and generally inappropriate, still continues, and the mom's ideas that we're picking on him and are being mean to him still continue. Teachers aren't paid enough. I had a parent come in and ask me where our cleaners were from to decide whether or not she trusted that her daughter wouldn't get her stuff robbed at school. I explained that we didn't use an agency. All the cleaners were employed directly by the school. No, she clarified. Where are they from? She was quickly invited to leave my office. Had a parent forgot to pack their kid a lunch. They called the school to tell me I needed to leave the class to go across the street and buy the kid Subway. Also, was almost physically attacked by a father because I gave the kid a C in reading. I gave the kid a D on a homework. Parent contacted me to complain that I was picking on him, even though the parent agreed that most of the answers that he gave were wrong, but I should have cut him some slack. When my kids complained their teacher gave them a poor grade, I remind them they earned a poor grade. I had a parent complain because I played a CD of classical Persian flute music one day in class. The class was world languages and cultures and I played a different CD from around the world every day as they came into class. They thought I was sympathizing with terrorists and should only teach American stuff. Those parents should be the ones taking your class. I used to teach phonics, basic reading skills, to kindergarten age kids. One parent came in after class, irate, and demanded to know why I had taught the diphthong before the oi diphthong. He didn't want his kid to be able to read the word girl before being able to read boy. Kept going on about how boy was just more important and common as a word, and teaching kids less frequent words before more frequent ones would slow down reading progress and was bad pedagogically, and so on. In hindsight, I'm impressed that he managed to squeeze so many justifications into something so pointlessly stupid. Sister is a teacher. This year someone plagiarized a Wikipedia page and didn't change the font, so the parent insisted my sis read it wrong. I had a parent complain that all my rules are the reason her daughter acts out in my classroom. Basic rules like clean up after yourself and put on shoes after rest time. Her mom sees no reason for me to have these rules and thinks I'm horribly strict. A parent at my sister's school complained because it rained on the school trip to the zoo. I wouldn't have given permission for my child to go on the trip if I had been properly informed it might rain. I hear about things like this all the time. In my school the S6s, 16-17 sometimes 18 depending on birthdays, were going on a camping trip and 4 of the 20 going were pulled by parents because the forecast said that it might rain. One mother threatened to yank her daughter out of the school if this student were not given the starring role in the Christmas concert to sing O Holy Night, an incident previously noted. The girl had made it perfectly clear to me, the faculty and classmates, that she realized she wasn't musically qualified for the part, neither did she want to do it. It was entirely her mom, determined that her daughter should be the star of the school, no matter what. Not a teacher, but I did see this in one of the 101 level classes. Student comes in and sits in the chair, leaning back, taking that standard don't care posture, while another woman comes in, older, mid-50s, and sits next to him. Honestly, no one takes any notice because it's college. Everyone goes at different times. I actually know the professor, as he has done a large number of classes for upper divisional history. Normally he never does attendance, but first day, 101 class, making sure he has everyone that's supposed to be there, and that the waitlisted people there are able to sign up. Noticing that this lady has notebook is out, but isn't on his list, or one who raised their hands about being waitlisted. Prof. Hello. Did you miss the waitlisted announcement? Lady, no. Don't mind me. Prof frowns. Why not? What are you doing here? Lady, taking notes for my son. Like I said, don't mind me. Prof stands there stunned, getting most of our attention since he is rather laid back. States, lady, he is in college. Lady nods, yes, but notes are hard for him. Prof, does he have an IEP? If so, we have a program for that. Lady, no. Like I said, don't mind me. Prof, I do mind. You have to pay to be in this class. Lady, I am not learning anything, just taking notes. My prof is dumbfounded at this. No, you're gonna leave the classroom, because your son isn't 12 anymore and darn well can take his own notes. You didn't pay for classes, so you're not at all allowed to be here. Goodbye, he says and points her to the exit. Lady, well, I will complain to the head of your department. Prof, I am the head, now leave. Dang, I feel bad for the kid. When I was teaching overseas at an American school, I had a parent of a 5th grader who felt that her son wasn't being challenged enough. This came out during the October parent-teacher conference. Okay, so, work and challenge level ramps up to a degree I feel he can handle. Next conference, after said student's grades drop a tiny bit, same parent complains that I am being too tough on her child. Facepalm. I work at an inner city Catholic school where most of my students have some serious learning disabilities. Their parents get second jobs to pay for Catholic school because they don't want their kids in the dangerous public school. But the Catholic schools don't have a special needs teacher that can really help them. For my students who have severe ADHD, I have a rule that if they are acting up too much, they can leave the room and take a lap for a couple of minutes to get some energy out. This has been incredibly helpful and has caused far less distractions in class. A couple of weeks ago I had to call home about a student who was constantly on her phone and talking back. The mother then proceeded to tell me that I called her daughter a dog by saying some students can take a lap, and that I was racist for describing my students as dogs. I never said dog. If you need a break, feel free to go for a walk equals racist. I had a parent complain that I was speaking too much French in class, which would be legitimate concern if it went to high school junior level French class. This one sticks out for me. My class was about to take a unit test on physical science. It had been about a month since the last test, so I sent home a 2-sided review sheet. I was checking these for correctness but grading for completeness. The plan was to hand them back out as a study guide, and I notice one that has no answers one side of it. The child had written their name at the top of the blank side, so they had seen it and just decided not to do it. I gave the child a 50 on the assignment, since they had done half. Perfectly reasonable, right? Nope. Parent complaint, but to the other teachers in the grade instead of me. Apparently, giving a 10-year-old a completeness grade based on the amount of work they did is entirely unreasonable. None of the other teachers were so mean, so it wasn't fair for me to be either. Obligatory, not a teacher, but an assistant school counselor. We had a furious parent call us several and accuse us of turning her son gay. Her son who was cutting a swath through the school's female population. The calls stopped after he got a classmate pregnant. Bet you he told his parents he was gay so he could have sleepovers with girls. Moving students. When I taught high school, I moved seating arrangements about once a semester. keeps them on their toes, forces them to work with other students and breaks up some of those talky groups we tend to get. Every time it happened I got calls about how dare you move my baby. He wants to sit next to his friends. Your child does more talking than work. He needs to be away from his friends. My little girl needs to sit in the front row. Otherwise she won't pay attention and get all A's. Your kid is fine in the second row. She's focused and learning. I need the front row for my IEP kids. You only moved him because you hate him. You're racist. You're mean. Yeah, it just really makes me happy to move your child 2 seats to the right. Seriously folks, it's a seat change in one period. Unless there is a medical reason that dictates otherwise, your kid will be okay wherever I sit them. When I came out to my parents they decided it was my English teacher's fault for always wearing colored bras under a white blouse. So they put in a formal complaint. I had a parent complain about unfairly sending her kid home after he was running a 101 fever and vomited right in the middle of the cafeteria. She insisted that every witness in the whole cafeteria to the vomiting was lying and insisted that the 101 fever was caused by her child wearing a sweater. This mom was not called away from a job to pick up her sick child. She was a housewife. She was literally at home when the school nurse called her home phone number. Just so many things. But from the last week, a parent emailing to tell me it was unacceptable for me to grade her son's paper as 1 day late and she would be happy to call a meeting with the principal if I were to object to fixing this. The kid's paper was actually 5 days late and I was trying to save his butt by giving him only the 25% off for 1 day late. A mother came bullshitting into the teacher's room that afternoon because both the chemistry teacher and I, assistant professor, agreed to send her autistic son to the handicapped children class where they have 2 fabulous teachers who work wonders with children who can't follow the pace of other kids. She was freaking mad because we couldn't keep stopping the entire class so her boy could understand some subjects. And let's be honest, he couldn't because he had been passed in previous years just to appease his mother. Because the lad couldn't even divide nor subtract in the equivalent of the US 8th grade. Apparently she wanted him to have a normal life with other kids, but he had no interest in interacting with any other boys. He got angry when we tried to explain things to him calmly, because heck, we do. We know how hard it is for him. I ended up being yelled at and scratched by him several times. Obligatory, not a teacher, but my fiance is student teaching a 2nd grade right now and has a kid in her class that is absolutely terrible. He just doesn't do crap but frick off in class. Attempts to get a meeting with the parents were a waste because they stood them up on 2 separate occasions. So, she and the teacher basically told him you can't go to recess because you spent all your class time playing. Now the parents got involved, raised heck, and started picking the kid up at lunch to make sure he gets playtime. So they can't be troubled to meet with the teachers and principal, but can pick the kid up and give him recess every day. Finally, the principal waited for them and basically cornered them. The result of this meeting was finding out that the parents don't give 2 shoots if the kid learns anything at all and they just want him to be happy. Apparently the 4th grade sister is the same way and doesn't need to learn anything and will do fine in life because she is pretty. SMMFH. I wasn't contacted. This was during a parent-teacher interview. A mother said that she was concerned that her daughter was failing. So I explained that although I thought her daughter was capable of passing, she would have to put in more work at home. She hadn't completed any homework assignments. I then spent the rest of the interview getting ranted at about how I wasn't allowed to suggest what she should spend her home time on and how I should focus on teaching her daughter more than the rest of the class during lessons just because she was struggling. I politely explained that I couldn't do that because that wouldn't be fair on the rest of the class. The mother then stood up in the middle of the hall and yelled, "You are the worst teacher ever. I'm going to the principal and you will be fired." Their child wasn't in a group picture from a field trip, even though their child wasn't at school that day. I clearly didn't like his child and made him sit out of the picture. He insisted that his child was there because his child got a sticker from the place we visited. Well, surprise, your child got a sticker because I went out of my way to get him one since he wasn't there, and here, have a look at my attendance book to prove that you didn't send your preschooler to school that day. I had a parent find my personal Facebook page and was mad about what I had posted, i.e. pics of me and my boyfriend at parties, pics of mine in a swimsuit while on vacation, pics of me out on the town late at night. She wanted me fired for presenting an inappropriate lifestyle to children and made it seem like I was coming to school wasted every day and making out with my boyfriend in front of the class. When I taught a younger age group, I sent a student home for being all sorts of disruptive, distracting others, cursing at me, threatening other students, the whole 9 yards. His mother called me not only to complain that I'd removed him from class, but to complain that I'd done so at 1:45 p.m. as opposed to 2:30 p.m, which would have fit her schedule better. Mom, listen. My mom teaches elementary school, and in an attempt to relate to children, she has the minion theme going on in her room. It's a running joke that she is the queen and they are her minions. She had a parent complain saying how dare she call his child her minion and saying that it was promoting slavery. I had a parent approach me on the bus ramp, claiming someone cut her child's eyebrow. Mind you, this is prec and our scissors barely cut paper. I asked the student, did anyone use scissors on her face? She says no. I asked, did she use scissors on her own face? She says no. I look at the mom and tell her the students know better and my kids tell on each other, so I would have known. She rolled her eyes at me and said she's going to fill her daughter's eyebrows in from now on. Okay girl. I once had a parent chew me out because her 17-year-old daughter threw a pair of scissors at me. A parent complained to me because my rain stick is offensive to South America culture. The frick how? She was upset I made her son respond to questions in French class. A mother wanted her high school son switched to a different teacher. She claimed that her son was intimidated by my loud, husky voice and that's why he wasn't able to pay attention while we read literature passages. He was a 6 feet 2 inches football player. I'm 5 feet 7 inches and sing soprano. A colleague had to sit through a 45-minute meeting with a parent and the head of department, with the parent claiming she hated the child because he was a farmer and she was a militant vegan who was opposed to him and wanted him to fail. Colleague is intermittently vegetarian, and it doesn't really come up in maths lessons. Mum's a teacher. First day back after summer vacation, the parents of one of the kids came into school to say that over the summer her kid and some of her friends had a falling out and could the teachers fix it now they were back at school. I read an Allen Ginsberg poem and a Mormon parent complained because gays sneak stuff into their poems to turn kids gay. Later in the year his daughter told me her dad's favorite song was Imka. As per my mother of 30 plus years as a teacher, one day a kid came to me and said she wasn't feeling well. I told her to put her head down and if she still didn't feel well, come back to me and I'll take you to the nurse. The little girl never complained the rest of the day. The nurse called me and said the little girl's mother complained that I didn't send her daughter to the nurse. The next day the little girl came up to me and said she wasn't feeling well. I sent the girl to the nurse. She had a fever and the nurse called the mother to tell her that her daughter would not be able to go on the field trip. The mother then complained I overreacted and should not have sent her to the nurse. I don't think the mother wanted to leave work to pick up her kid. My wife is a teacher and is getting sued because she gave a kid a B. You have been visited by the snake of great corn. You will be blessed with corn for eternities to come, but only if you comment corn me up. Snake, if you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.